Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to the new patch notes review with me, ChinxZhao, and with me today is my Seth Rollins to my phenomenal AJ Styles, the Irish Devil.
What's up, guys?
Alright, today we'll be covering up the patch notes 3.7. Reaver. A decent amount to go over in this patch, but not too much.
Relatively small patch.
Yeah. So, first, first issue fixed is Mail Renew. Fixed an issue where it would not proc when destroying a tower. Did not realize it did this.
It does. All objectives.
Alright, so glad they got rid of that, or they fixed that. So, next up, this is the first of many nerfs, I feel like, to this item, is Throwing Dagger. Throwing Dagger is reduced physical power from 22 to 15, and increased cost from 1300 to 1350. This is not big of a change, but at the same time, it's still a very viable item. It's still you can still use it. It's still a feasible item, and it's actually a phenomenal item.
It's gonna change the hunter start a little bit. I mean, you're gonna have to. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be lacking on a little bit of power, and you're gonna be missing one potion right at the beginning of the game. That's about it.
Which really isn't that big of a thing, because multi potions exist.
That's true.
All right, the first god change. It's actually a rather quick and easy patch today, which isn't too much, and it's actually really interesting. Is Chiron. Change the herbal pass medicine icon. Nobody really cares about that. Everybody just knew you got healed if you stood close to Chiron. So, and he used ability. So, just a quick icon update, I guess. Now, Jingwei. If you do not realize, she is the new god in Smite. Released last patch, I believe, or a couple patches ago. But they are already beginning to nerf her down. Her basic power level is increased. Or actually, I shouldn't say nerf. Actually, it seems like there's a bit of a
This is most definitely a buff for her.
Yeah. Either a buff or like a little bit more of a balance to make her a little bit stronger.
Something like that. Because when she came out, hold on.
Yeah.
When she came out, she was introducing a new mechanic to the game, and high res was very. This is my thinking on it. High res was very conscientious about fixing and keeping those numbers down so she didn't completely break the game like a Wheelix did when a Wheelix first came out. I don't know if you remember that, or Janice when he first came out. So this particular change is going to make her be able to box, because that was her biggest deal. She couldn't box.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Jingwei is definitely one of those type of characters. Like, when I've said this before, and I've said this many times on stream, she's a very balanced god for a new god, and I just really like that whole thing behind it.
Yeah, I'd look for. I don't know. I think once they tune her up a little bit, they're going to realize that some of these numbers are a little bit high. Like the persistent gust, I think you'll see that come back down, and but that's about it. I think that's going to be the only thing that's going to have to be nerfed back down. Everything else seems to be right where it needs to be.
Yeah, definitely. So, buff their base physical power a little bit. Doesn't really do much. It's a little bit. It's like between life and death situation from them getting away or not. So, and then her first ability, Persistent Gust, which is increased speed buff. For instead of a base of 25 on all ranks, it goes from 20 to 25 to 30 to 35. 20 to 25, 30 to 35, and 35 to 40. Per every rank, and they increase the base attack speed buff from 5 seconds to 7 seconds, which is definitely a really strong buff.
Yeah, I look for this to be used in a lot more offensive capabilities now. Now that you're going to get a lot more out of it, for sure.
So it's her second ability. It says fixing an issue where this ability providing ammo without going on cooldown. This is a little weird for me.
Mostly just a bug fix is what it seems like. You'd be able to tap on the two. I mean, it'd be like Medusa's Viper Shot, for example, her one. Like you'd proc it, and then you'd see the 3 glowing spheres around Medusa's head, and then you'd be able to use the ammo after that. It's not like an insta-cast ability where she instantly uses the 3 shots. So this is just anytime Hi-Rez puts an ability like that into play, there's going to be some bugs, and this one was no different.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Alright, her next ability is Agility. Using Agility from the ground now removes basic attack movement penalties for 3 seconds. Increase the buff duration from 5 seconds to 6 seconds all around when Agility is used while in the air. This is a huge buff, because she no longer she can backpedal while firing you for 2 seconds and then turn around and continue on her way to run to escape.
That's pretty big right there.
Yeah, it's really too much. And Airstrike, her ultimate, increased damage from 200 to 220, or from a base before the damage before was 200 to 280 to 360 to 420 to 500. Now it's changed to 220 to 310 to 400 to 490 to 580. Basically, the airstrike has gotten a little bit stronger, but I still don't think it does as much damage as it should. And it's fine. It's fine because she's a really auto attack based character.
This is also one of the hardest abilities to land in the game, except for like maybe a long distance like Janus snipe. Like the few times that I've played this god, I mean, you're not landing the airstrike for damage, and if you are, then I don't feel like that's almost the proper use for that ultimate. It's really more useful to kind of positioning wise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and
if your other cooldowns are down, you'll pop this easy.
Yeah, and they increased the landing range from 40 to 55, which is like a 15 increase, which may not seem as a lot, but it just gives her a little bit more room to like run or get closer to people, because sometimes people are really good at juking these abilities.
Yeah, well, and her landing was like really kind of like quirky anyway, so I felt like increasing that landing range will like be super helpful. It's gonna be like the new wall. I remember me saying last patch we were talking about how airstrike is going to behave like a new wall when you're landing, and so that's pretty much what this change is going to do.
All right, the next step, the next god change is Nox. Her Siphon Darkness, which is her second ability, decreased cooldown from 15 seconds to 13 seconds. And since these are all relatively really short, 1 or 2 changes, I can just go through all real quickly. Shadow Step, her 3, which is her escape, quote unquote, or her extreme damage, increased magical power scaling from 40% to 90%. And then Nightmare Terror, damage reduction increased from 30% to 40%, increased magical power scaling from 60% to plus 75%. This actually just makes her a lot stronger in lane and all around.
She was already a terror, pun intended, to deal with, but because let's not forget, her Siphon Darkness has 100% scaling on it. So that thing will hit really hard. Now with 2 seconds removed from the cooldown, that's just going to make it that much harder to deal with. Shadow Step, I don't know if I'm going to see much of a change with that. Now the buff to Night Terror, though, that's pretty big.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing though, Mrs. Figgity Figs, I know you're watching this video right now. This is just going to give you even more incentive to dash into people and make me and Irish come in and get your ass out of there.
Exactly. Figs is the definition of greed, and now since they buffed one of our favorite gods, now she has more reason to be greedy.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I could totally kill her, but I'm going to kill myself and probably kill the rest of us around us. Anyways, moving on. Al Posh. Or Al Fuck, or whatever. I like calling him Al Fuck because when he first came out, literally, if you got hit by any one of his abilities, you just go, fuck, I'm dead. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's just stuck with me. So, they buffed him, from what I see. Yeah.
Pretty good sized buff.
Yeah. So, his first ability, Undead Surge, increased the number of courses dropped from 1-1-1-2-2 to now 1-1-2-2-2. That's a lot of numbers, and a lot of small numbers said at the same time, and sometimes you oversay some. But yeah, this just means that Upwatch players will just level their 1 till like level 2, and then they just stop maxing it. Or level 3 now, and they stop maxing it. And then focus on their second ability, which is the one that detonates the corpses and does like a lot of damage.
I feel like this is going to be like a very big situational change. You know, like people always used to take the 1 to level 4 anyway, just to get the 2 corpses. I still think that, you know, the damage on the rank 4 of that ability is actually still really, really good. So I would see. I don't know if this is going to make a massive amount of changes. It's just going to allow him to heal up and have a little bit more sustain early on. That's it.
Yeah, okay, so moving on, Alpwash's third ability, which is Fleeting Breath. I didn't even know it was called that. I just called it Kobe or Sploosh. But yeah, it got a little bit of a nerf slash buff. I think it's an overall more of a buff though, because it decreased the duration from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. Yes, this allows them like more time for the less. Actually, what am I trying to say here? Um, this just basically nerfs the time for them to like accidentally get healed and get stunned and do more damage. But at the same time, the damage per second is increased by, I'd say, like around like to an even amount. I guess high res doesn't like numbers like unlike numbers that that can't be divisible aren't divisible by 5. Because they changed it from 25, 28, 31, 34, 37 to 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. As just to make it simpler for them, which in turn gives them a buff.
As if that ability needed to do any more damage to begin with. But I do remember I think it was Hinduman, when we were first talking about the Season 3 changes to a lot of the different items. His tongue-in-cheek reference to several numbers changing on certain items was because high res likes even numbers. There you go.
Yeah.
Another prime example of that.
Yeah, basically. So, now, increased magical power scaling from 15% to 20% per tick. That's, that's like a minor buff. Yeah.
A small change, but I think a necessary one. Like if you're gonna make wholesale changes to Fleeting Breath, I feel like a little bit of an increase to the damage, to at least to the scaling, would have been all right.
Now here's where things get crazy. They removed the ability. This ability no longer scales off of the number of times healed, but now it's replaced with, but now with the replacement of that, they buffed this other part of the ability, which is it increased the damage on targets that healed from those numbers per stack and 10% per stack to, you know, like from let's see, from 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 plus 10% per stack to a 50, 100, 150, 200, 250 plus 50% per flat. That is devastating.
It is. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Fleeting Breath was probably going to be the last ability you maxed. Well, okay, depending on your playstyle, whether you would max the ult before Fleeting Breath, but Fleeting Breath literally wasn't doing a whole lot unless you had a team full of healers that you were fighting at that point. So yes, these numbers do look very scary, though. I'm very excited to start playing Alpwatch again and starting to get scummy with it, if you know what I mean.
And here's like a final nerf slash buff. It's just a balance, I guess you could say. Increased stun on target that healed from 1 second plus 0.5 seconds per stack, and just 1.5 seconds flat. This makes him a little bit more viable. That makes the stun actually go off now.
Mm-hmm. Instead of just a very quick, oh, I'm stunned. Oh, wait, I can still use all my abilities and kill the squishy mage. So.
Okay. And the final god change is Hebo. Oh my god, did they buff Hebo? Hold on.
They did.
Now water can flow or it can crash.
Shoutouts to Bruce Lee, because that's where that quote came from.
Yep, that's
And if you don't know who Bruce Lee is, please go Google it right now.
Yeah, I remember his famous Nokia commercial where he was playing ping pong with nunchucks, and I was just like, I want to do that. Of course, you can see how that turned out because I'm sitting in front of you today. But yeah, moving on. So his second ability is Atlas of the Yellow River, which got a pretty decent buff. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, it increased the they increased the slow buff from 20, 25, 30, 35, or a slow debuff, I should say, from 20, 25, 30, 35, 40% to now 30, 35, 40, 45, 50%. And they increased the speed buff from 25, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40% to now 30, 35, 40, 45, 50%. Basically, now the Yellow River slows as much as it speeds him up, which is gonna make him even more annoying. It's not like, but people aren't gonna like take time out of maxing the other abilities to max this. Granted that this will get maxed before he maxes his ult, but still, it just gives
Yeah.
Hebo more ways to get in and out.
Yeah, this gives him more potency late game. I feel from the levels of like 16 up to 20. Like this is really gonna help him out. You know, because anybody who's ever fought Hebo and he's deployed his carpet in front of you and now you can barely move and now he's basically like a predator just chasing you down at that point. Before
Exactly.
it really wasn't that big of a deal, but the fact now that it's going to start at 30% slow debuff and a 30% speed buff, holy crap, that's going to be good.
Definitely. So now, moving on, God remodel for Arachne. Why Arachne? I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
She needed it. She needed it. She really did.
There are other characters that need more remodel than her, but like she was fine. But I'm looking at her new remodel right now. Quite honestly, maybe it's a little bit like makes her more look like a arachna humanoid arachnid, but it's honestly meh. As you would ask the famous Arachne player, Weekend, he it's a, it's an extremely meh skit remodel for him.
Yeah.
Arachne masteries. Yeah, that's definitely. I guess they did it because of that. Because that way she has armor now, so they can make it look like she's got armor, and then not make it look like her boobs are gold or some shit like that. I don't know. Why the fuck are you staring at her boobs in the first place? She's a fucking spider.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I take it back to I remember the last time that I remember when Bakasura got his little visual remodel, I guess. You know, it was literally because Arachne's probably one of the older gods in the game, and she just needed she needed a visual update at that point. Because I remember them changing her kit up a little bit, and I was like, they're not going to do a visual remake with that. People have been talking about this for forever. So now that it finally happened, it's good for Arachne, but still, I will agree with ChinxZhao and say it's still meh overall.
So another skin. She's just getting all kinds of things today. It's this new Grim Reaver Weaver Arachne skin. Looking at it right now, as you can see on the screen right now, it's another meh skin. It's just a robot spider, as all of these are.
Yeah. As Hades creates his cyborg army, first it was Hades and Guan Yu, now they have Arachne.
It's honestly for a character that's not even being played right now, that really isn't in the meta. It's just gonna put her on the meta, and it's just not. I don't know. People are gonna play her because of the skin. It's just not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's a good counter to Ao Kuang, but Ao Kuang gets banned every game anyways.
That's true.
Now, this skin I actually really like. It's the Grim Eclipse Ho Yi, which actually makes him look like a badass cowboy.
Half man, half amazing, I believe, would be a proper analogy for this. Shoutouts to MVP back in the day.
Oh yeah. And Vince Carter.
I like this. I really, really like this. I feel like Hoi was in need of a pretty decent skin. Because literally the skins that he has was, let's see, hold on, I'm pulling it up on my screen right now. He has the Iron Crow and the Moon's Groom. That's all he has.
Both of which are I believe exclusive or not really.
Yeah,
No, the Moon Groom isn't exclusive though. I don't
the
think.
Iron Crow is though. I believe that was like season 2 SPO.
But then again,
Something with that.
the Moon Groom skin has been very highly a lot of it's been a running meme in the community now that the Moon's Groom is basically Zapman, and you know what if you're an ADC player that loves Ho Yi but doesn't like Zapman? Well, and that's the only skin you got. Well, you gotta play as Zapman.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I just say this just gives more variety to the really strong character right now, or a really strong god right now. And I know somewhere out there, Figs just had a massive orgasm because here's the Nox skin. Oh yeah, she's gonna be watching this anyways.
Mm-hmm.
This skin is actually decent. I don't quite like the headpiece. Makes her look like a fucking Cyclops. Why are her tits hanging out? I don't know. Maybe because high-res employees are thirsty. Like I pointed out on stream before. They are really thirsty because look, you can literally see great white cleavage right there. And then the tendrils, I'm not completely sold on. To be honest, I'm actually really underwhelmed with this skin for high-res being such good skin creators. I don't know.
I'd like, yeah, I wanted them to see, I wanted them to do a little bit more with the skin. You know, like make her into a full-fledged robot. You know, don't stop with just part of the face. You know, like give her full robot armor. But then again,
Yeah.
it's like you said, the thirstiness. You gotta have the boobies hanging out if you're gonna make a high-res product, right?
I mean, I guess they sexualize every character, every one of their gods. Because look at that. Like, I'm damn sure Nox doesn't have double D's in her actual model.
Yeah.
It's like every character has to have double D's except for Bologna. Take a page out of the people who make Bologna skins. She doesn't have her fucking cleavage hanging out like left and right, and her like breast size doesn't increase from skin to skin all of a sudden, like dramatically for no reason. So yeah.
Except for her Satan skin. But even then, it's actually still not even remotely as bad. But anyway. So
Alright,
Hunter
Moon's Chunga. This looks like a tier 2 skin to me, and it looks really good for a tier 2 skin.
Mm-hmm. She has like a lot of different patterns and color matches and things like that. And so now like it's to give her something that's mostly focused on like red and pink. That's not the exclusive Moonlight Love Berry White Bunny talking skin. I can dig it. Like I'm down.
This is a really good looking skin, and then there's that little rose on the center. I don't know. Maybe oh, you about to deflower her or some shit. I'm sorry. We're talking about the last skin. It just leaned over. But yeah, next we have the Colossus Hercules skin.
Dude, you know how much I'd like to play Hercules, so I'm down for this skin.
Why the fuck did they make a skin out of Colossus? I will never know, because Hercules, quite honestly, didn't really need a skin. He had like plenty of them as it is.
Just to give you guys an idea, including his standard skin, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Hercules skins in the game right now.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this is a tier 2. So why the hell did you make him a Colossus? Fucking Colossus.
Because they could. Shoutouts to X-Men.
Yeah, I guess they're just hyped the Days of Future Past. Or Apocalypse, I'm sorry, I should say.
Dude, Apocalypse is going to be... I want to see an Apocalypse skin coming soon.
Or Deadpool, or whatever, because that's where Deadpool is. You know, because Colossus is a big part of Deadpool.
Deadpool Apollo. Done.
The Merc with the mouth? That would be Mercury. That would make sense.
Okay, well, that's...
I mean, Merc is technically his name.
That's true.
So yeah, we have a Colossus Hercules skin now, which is gonna I don't know Colossus. All right, I'm sorry. I don't know any lines from Colossus. If you ask me about any other mainstream superhero, I'll give you a one-liner from them. I don't know Colossus. I don't think he talks at all. He just goes, hmm. I'm pretty sure that's what he does.
He's just the muscle in the background, mostly.
Exactly. So now, Amaterasu got her mastery skin. She looks,
Yay!
you know, just by the face alone, that is really good artwork. I can respect a good artist, and that face definitely got me a bit erect. But I mean, just look at it though. Like her smile, it's just it's a well done skin, and I'm like that was basically her colors in the first place.
Yeah.
And
just that casual
yeah,
smirk.
yeah. This looks like her I think the real color was her blue and her blue skin, I believe. The cerulean sun, I think, is what it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you good.
Yeah. So.
You're right.
So yeah, that maybe people will be like, will bitch and moan about, oh, well, it looks too much like a recolor. Then buy the legendary skin. Fuck off. It's a really good skin card. And it's probably gonna look even better in game. Now we have a new global emote. RIP. This is going to be hilarious to use if I ever get it.
I can't wait to get it either. That's gonna be so dope.
It's gonna be hilarious because whenever Fix dies, I'm gonna be like, hey, look in the air. Haha.
If you and I end up with it, we're just gonna torture poor Figs with it. It's
gonna be so much fun. But yeah, it's just another feature in the game. This avatar, I don't know what the fuck, who the fuck this is, but that is some really creepy ass avatar.
Well, I'm gonna give you viewers another name to go out there and Google. Skeletor from back in the day. From the Adventures of He-Man. That's what this avatar reminds me of.
Yeah, if Skeletor ever actually killed He-Man and accomplished anything with his life.
This is a very true story.
So yeah, word skins, just freaking word skins. I know all of you guys, when you buy chests, you get trolled with word skins. Word skins for everyone. And who cares? Because I quite honestly have my Envy word skin and hoping one day they release the LG word skin and an LG player icon as well. So, because I rep my boy Andinster.
I've been down.
Lord Andinster.
I've been down with my my tier monster ward skin for so long. Like I don't even it would feel weird for me to even change it. But this grim skin ward skin doesn't look too bad.
All right, so here a little bit of miscellaneous changes, and this caught my eye real quick because it said reporter player notifications. Now this caught my eye because since I play rank, I should say I haven't been playing recently because it just hasn't appealed to me as of late. But yeah, I've reported plenty of people in my time, so we'll just go over some of these real quick. Maybe these miscellaneous changes are useful. So, reported player notification. Players will now receive a notification when someone has been reported and had action taken against their account. This is like CS:GO when like you do your Overwatch shit and it's like, congratulations, you got someone vac banned because yes, they were hacking, and it's just like the greatest feeling in the world.
It's gonna be It's gonna be a good thing. I feel like this was the next logical step in the progression of the reporting system. So now people can't use the age-old excuse of reporting people does nothing. You won't know, because now you're gonna know.
Yeah, and here's another thing about that. It's just like, it's been confirmed that there are like high-res employees that go through each report and read what you say and go through the games and go through the chat log. It's been confirmed that they do that. It just takes them a while because let's just face it, high-res doesn't have as many employees. That's right, it does. Or Steam does. So yeah. Moving on, fixed an issue where owners of the God Pack would see many of the gods appear in their acquisition notification, basically saying you unlocked all these gods again, when really you already had these gods before. That was a little bit annoying.
Agreed.
Now, Enigma chest. This chest will no longer award boosters unless players owns everything in their chest. This, I don't know exactly what the hell. I don't buy chests. I don't really care for chests. You know, they're just too RNG on that shit. And usually they have like 50,000 things in them before you get the one thing you want. So yeah.
The Enigma chest was the weekly quest bonus. Like you'd finish like a certain amount of weekly quests within a month, and you'd get some like Enigma chest, or they would be doing events with that. I believe what was in an Enigma chest was like all the tier 2 skins, like a voice it was either voice packs or ward skins, but basically when you owned all of them, you would get boosters at that point.
And then, little issue, fixed an issue where fire elementals would show up on the minimap when they were not on the map. This makes sense. When you're jungling in ranked or whatever, if you're playing at casual, and it's like, oh, they're there, and you go there, well, they're not respawning, and there's like a little fucking tiny little icon on the ground that's barely visible. Like, it's just, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, they're probably going to continue to tweak that a little bit. I would like to see them come up with good size icons. I've seen how small those are, and I'm just like, dude, how can anybody see those? Like that's
awesome. It's like a little purple spot on the ground. But then again, if you like just see it out of the corner of your eye, you'll think it's a part of the lava in the ground.
Crazy.
So achievements. Nobody really cares. You can look at these yourselves. I don't really care about them. A mighty sword. But yeah, other than that, that comes to the end of God changes. Do you have anything? It comes to the end of this patch. Do you have anything particular that you want to talk about?
Changes to Jingwei. I wanted to kind of throw in another note earlier. Look for Jingwei to maybe change a little bit more before they're finally settled on what direction they want to take her. Because most hunters are either one of two things: they're either great split pushers and have good lane presence, or they're good boxers. One of the two. Right now, Jingwei is probably right there. With these changes, Jingwei will probably be in the middle. So, if Hi-Rez continues to tweak her, they're probably going to take her in. Because she has such high mobility, I look for her to be another split push god, I feel.
Jingwei is a very good god. I say, like, you know, like she's like one or two buffs away from like just being there. She's easily going to be at the top once she gets those one or two buffs.
Yeah, I agree. And Hebo with his Atlas of the Yellow River buff, I was like, holy crap, my 1v1 experience is going to be like amazing. Now I'll just play Hebo every game. Like, forget all the hunters. I'm just going to chase people down. It's going to be amazing.
As if Hebo wasn't annoying already. And now here's the biggest thing. Well, here's the thing I want to talk about. Well, the two mages between Jingwei and Hebo. Alpwash. His 3 is actually going to be viable now, so you don't be surprised if people actually start maxing it, depending on their playstyle. But yeah, that's definitely going to be a thing. And then Nox boss. That's going to be pretty good for her in the long run. How good it will be for players like Figs, using her escape offensively, we'll never know.
There was an old philosophy, like especially when I started playing Agni, people were just like, "Don't ever use your dash offensively. You'll die for it every time." And I've maintained that mindset. And even when I get my hands on Nox in the occasional assault map, I never use Shadow Step offensively. Although with the scaling now, there might be a little extra temptation to do so. I wanted to mention something about Alpwash since you brought up something real quick. There's a certain playstyle that has, the abilities the ability maxing, basically going Undead Surge, Corpse Explosion, Fleeting Breath, and then empty the crypts. There's a lot of people that won't max his ult until, those final levels. So, and with the buff to Fleeting Breath, like now it makes even that much more sense, because you're gonna want that. You're going to want that high level of damage.
Now, last point before, this is like my last point, and the last thing I want to talk about. Throwing Dagger. Honestly, this doesn't change it at all. They could have just removed the crit, and it would have been fine. It would have been a completely fine item. I don't know. What is your thought about it?
I feel like I'm one to agree with the fact that having that RNG focus in there basically takes laning and just throws it out the window, because you're basically rolling the dice to see because if you land 1 or 2 lucky crits, you're going to take over lane pressure, and if those 1 or 2 crits get you a kill, then you have instantly just won the lane. I never liked the throwing dagger start. I liked throwing dagger before they changed it. I think I remember saying that last patch. I thought throwing dagger was perfectly fine before they messed with it.
The reason why I say they should just remove the crit is because like a lot of people have been talking about it. Like I saw Ataraxia, I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was Ataraxia, or it was Emilito. Actually, I should say it was Emilito. He tweeted that you could have just nerfed the throwing dagger by removing the crit. And then Zapman immediately tweets back, "No, keep the crit." And then Omega tweets back, "No, I'm tired of this RNG bullshit. And like I don't want to play this game based on RNG and crit and crap." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm actually gonna agree with that because crit is like 10%. If you have like if RNG is with you that game, holy shit, you're like God rest your soul or something, or God rest your opponent's soul. I mean, it's not happening."
Here's an interesting little nugget for you to feast upon, ChinxZhao. I'm looking at the tier 1 to the throwing dagger, the shuriken. It only has 10 physical power, and it has 10 critical strike chance, 10% critical strike chance. That's pretty much the same as throwing dagger. So look for the tier 1 to come down as well. Maybe next patch they'll work that in. Because with the nerf to the power, I mean, basically, literally, you're spending 450 more gold to buy 5 power. So people are gonna just use the shuriken.
If people are going to buy crit, they should just go into the crit tree, because like people are just buying throwing dagger and selling it in late game anyways.
That's true. Their throwing dagger is a starting item. You might as well throw throwing dagger in there with Bluestone, Death Toll, Bumbas, Mark of the Vanguard, things like that, because that's pretty much what it accomplishes in today's meta.
Just remove the crit, I'd say, because like Wolfie's brought up the situation earlier today when I was watching his stream. He would say he would be winning the fight, and all of a sudden he gets crit 3 times and he loses the fight. And it's just like, yeah, sounds about right.
Remove the crit, but keep the passive that allows you to still be effectively able to farm with it. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. It'd still be a really good item, but then again, it also becomes situation like most other items in the game right now.
But also, removing the crit from throwing dagger also will in effect nerf Mercury again.
Okay, well, I mean, Mercury wasn't being played or not. Like, Mercury just needed the clear, and that's about it.
That's true. I don't know. I feel like Mercury. I feel like Golden Bow was literally made for Mercury. So, like, any sort of nerfs to that particular trigger it's gonna inadvertently affect him on top of it.
See, look here, Merc can already crit on his 1. That's the thing. He can already crit on his 1. And, if he wants crit, he can go into the crit tree and just get freaking Deathbringer and crit everybody in that circle. I've done it before.
Yeah. Fair enough. Maybe instead of, rushing Golden Bow, Merc goes and buys like Death Toll or something crazy.
Because Merc is definitely a late game character. Merc is really strong late game. That's why you play Merc, because he's late game carry, or late game annoyance, or early game annoyance, mid game annoyance. Not late game. He falls off really hard late game. Early to mid game is when he's a really annoyance and he can really kill you. That's what you play him for. And if you can't win then, which most people can't right now in this meta, you're pretty screwed.
Agreed. So, anyways, something else that I kind of wanted to, start doing with these patch reviews kind of at the very end. Are there any specific changes other than what's listed on these patch notes that you want to see happen, besides what we just spoke about with the throwing dagger? Any changes to items, gods, anything that you want to see happen?
I mean, as of right now, ADCs rule the game. They've always ruled the game just because you can't build against them at all. It's just like, all right, well, I'll get Nemean. Well, they're just gonna penetrate you even harder. Then it just there's too much penetration in the game. I think if you lower the penetration cap and you to where it's a feasible amount right now, then yeah, because you're not because ADC shouldn't be able to a level 20 ADC a full build shouldn't be able to solo a Guardian full build at level 20 by himself. It should be a team effort. That's usually what it is. The team uses it's a team effort to take down Guardians and tanky targets, and then the team usually focuses and that only happens after you've taken out their squishy targets. So, do something so that the ADCs can't just 1v1 tanky targets at all, and you can't just build against them at all. It just doesn't. It's not fun.
Yeah. I feel like Smite is also going in a direction where like it has to be tip top shape for esports, for example. I feel like a lot of these changes are going to go towards making the game fun on a presentation style level, which was something that Riot Games did with League of Legends. For I'm not quite sure on what specific years that those specific changes started to happen, but League of Legends, like some of those big tournaments actually are very well presented, and on top of everything, your game has to be finely tuned to get there. So I feel like that's the direction Smite is currently going with it. So it's less towards the casual crowd and more towards like how good can we make our professional teams be.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Wolfie said this before. Said season 2 was healthy for the game. Season 3 is just AIDS, and I tend to agree with that because season 2 was actually fun. It made me feel like this is why I play Smite. This is why during season 1 or whenever it first came out, this is why I was like, or whenever I started getting really good at the game, like when I actually considered trying out for teams. That's like it threw me back to those days.
Yeah, I loved season 2 as well. Playing all the different, I mean, before all the major defensive item changes, and basically rushing good old mystical male with 60 protections and 300 health, and magical passive aura on all of my solo laners was just fun to do because I could dive towers at level 7 and kill Lokis that were just sitting under towers as tier, which was pretty fun. I don't know. Season 3, I guess for me, season 3 has been one of the most evident stats with season 3 is there has been only one ranked conquest game played on my account for season 3. Only one. I just can't bring myself to do it.
It's like what I want to think about it is season 1 or like beta. It's like the rise. Season 1. It's like the beta was like the boom. And then season 1 was the rise, and then season 2 at this point is the peak, and then season 3 is the decline. It's just like I don't want this to happen because Smite, the way Smite's going, it's got at most 2 years left.
I'm not too sure about like the imminent demise of Smite, but season 3 is definitely not helping. I would have to see. I don't know. I guess I would have to see a little bit more for me to kind of think that Smite is on the decline. I mean, I really truly believe it's like I was saying earlier about Smite trying to be able to present itself on an esports level. I think that's initially what they're going for. So a lot of the more casual fans, like you, me, Figs, and whatnot, there's going to be a lot of frustration. Hopefully they start to do some things at the end of season 3 to kind of bring it back a little bit, though, because they're slipping. The control is definitely slipping on things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Not
definitely
completely
down.
out of control. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yep. So this concludes our analysis of patch notes 3.7. And as always, I've been your host ChinxZhao, and with me is this, of course, as I've said before, the Seth Rollins to my phenomenal AJ Styles. I'll see you guys later.
See you.